consistent with their national sustainable development plans? Well, once you protect the core interests of nations, then you can understand that nations were ready to begin to converge onto a common path, onto a common direction of travel that is going to take us probably several decades, but over those several decades is going to take us into the new economy, into a decarbonized, highly resilient economy. And the national contributions that are currently on the table on behalf of national governments are insufficient to get us to a stabilized climate. But they are only the first step, and they will improve over time. And the measurement, reporting, and verification of all of those efforts is legally binding. And the checkpoints that we're going to have every 5 years to assess collective progress toward our goal is legally binding. And the path itself toward a decarbonized and more resilient economy is legally binding. And here's the more important part. What did we have before? A very small handful of countries who had undertaken very reduced, short-term emission reduction commitments that were completely insufficient and furthermore largely perceived as a burden. Now what do we have? Now we have all countries of the world contributing with different intensities from different approaches in different sectors, but all of them contributing to a common goal and along a path with environmental integrity. Well, once you have all of this in place and you have shifted this understanding, then you see that governments were able to go to Paris and adopt the Paris Agreement. So, as I look back over the past 6 years, first I remember the day the Paris Agreement was adopted. I cannot tell you the euphoria in the room. 5,000 people jumping out of their seats, crying, clapping, screaming, yelling, torn between euphoria and still disbelief at what they had just seen, because so many people had worked for years toward this, and this was finally their reality. And it wasn't just those who had participated in it. A few weeks ago, I was with a colleague who was trying to decide on a Tahitian pearl that he wanted to give to his wonderful wife, Natasha. And once he had finally decided what he was going to buy, the jeweler said to him, you know, you're very lucky that you're buying this now, because these pearls could go extinct very soon because of climate change. But, the jeweler said, have you heard? The governments have just come to a decision, and Tahiti could have a chance. Well, what a fantastic confirmation that perhaps, here is hope, here is a possible chance. I'm the first one to recognize that we have a lot of work still to do. We've only just started our work on climate change. And in fact, we need to make sure that we redouble our efforts over the next 5 years that are the urgent 5 years. But I do believe that we have come over the past 6 years from the impossible to the now unstoppable. And how do we do that? By injecting transformational optimism that allowed us to go from confrontation to collaboration, that allowed us to understand that national and local interests are not necessarily at odds with global needs, and that if we understand that, we can bring them together and we can merge them harmoniously. And as I look forward to other global issues that will require our attention this century, food security, water security, home security, forced migration, I see that we certainly do not know how we're going to solve those problems yet. But we can take a page out of what we have done on climate change and we can understand that we have got to reinterpret the zero-sum mentality. Because we were trained to believe that there always are winners and losers, and that your loss is my gain. Well, now that we're in a world in which we have reached planetary boundaries, and that we're not just so interconnected, but increasingly interdependent of each other, your loss is no longer my gain. We're either all losers, or we all can be winners. But we are going to have to decide between zero and sum. We're going to have to decide between zero benefit for all, or living life as the sum of all of us. We've done it once. We can do it again.